let's start the second part of a video of heart diseases in pregnancy. So mainly in this video we are going to discuss what is the management of for your patient who is already having heart disease in labor. So in labor, if there is heart disease, then what we need to do? Okay, how do we need to manage the patient? Okay, so for that we need to see first the patient should be resting in left lateral position or propped up position, but not in a supine position. We already discussed this supine position syndrome. If the patient is on supine position, there will be pressure of fetus on inferior vena cava and also on femoral venous pressure. So the femoral venous pressure rises, and cardiac output to the heart decreases, so it will further aggravate the heart disease. So the patient should first be on left lateral position. Okay, it's the best position, or propped up position, and the oxygen inhalation should be 4 to 6 liters per minute. It's better to give oxygen inhalation to this patient because the cardiac output is low, so oxygen carrying capacity is low. Okay, and what we need to restrict in this patient, we need to restrict mainly the number of per vaginal examination. Why? Because during per vaginal examination there is a high chance of infections, and infections may aggravate the heart disease. So we need to restrict the number of per vaginal examinations, and it's better to give IV fluids at the rate 75 ml per hour. So this is all we need to do during labor in a heart disease patient. Okay, so we need to give IV fluids at the rate 75 milliliter per hour. So 75 milliliter per hour should be given. And the best mode of delivery for this kind of patient is, of course, the vaginal delivery. Okay, so allow the patient to go into spontaneous labor. No need to induce the labor. Let them allow to undergo spontaneous labor. And the IOL is safe. Here IOL means induction of labor. Induction of labor is also safe. Normal vaginal delivery is safe. Even you can induce the labor. This is also safe procedure. Okay, spontaneous labor is safe. Even induction of labor is also safe. Next, coming to epidural analgesia. So epidural analgesia should be given because we need to do the painless delivery in this patient, because if the pain comes, then it will lead to tachycardia, and again it may aggravate the heart problem. So epidural analgesia is given for pain relief. Prophylactic use of forceps. We should use forceps greater than vacuum in this case of disease, heart patient labor. Okay, so cut short second stage of labor. We need to also cut the second stage of labor, because even second stage of labor, if it is more, then it may also increase the heart disease chance. Okay, next, coming to indications for cesarean section in heart disease. So this is all the indications which I have seen in normal vaginal delivery. So in the case of cesarean section, what are the causes indications? Let us see. So cesarean section, whenever the ejection fraction in a heart patient is less than 30, any heart disease involving aorta, or severe heart failure or myocardial infarction, or if the patient is on warfarin at the time of labor. Why we are mainly focusing on warfarin is warfarin have a chance to cross the placenta. So when the warfarin crosses the placenta and reaches the baby, warfarin is an anticoagulant. So on the baby it may act, and it may lead to severe damage to the baby. And also during labor, if we do normal delivery in this patient, that is vaginal delivery, it will lead to intracerebral hemorrhage in the case of baby. So to prevent this, it's better to do cesarean section in the case of warfarin treatment. Okay, so severe heart failure or myocardial infarction, we need to do cesarean section. Any heart disease involving aorta, ejection fraction less than 30, all these conditions we need to do cesarean section. So Eisenmenger syndrome is not an indication for cesarean section. It is an indication for medical termination of pregnancy, right? Because you remember, in Eisenmenger syndrome, we need to do medical termination. We should not do cesarean, because if we do cesarean here, there is still a chance for the maternal mortality. Okay, so anesthesia of choice is epidural analgesia. Next, general anesthesia indications. So general indications are intracardiac shunt. For general anesthesia, intracardiac shunt, HOCM, that is hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and ejection fraction again less than 30%, and pulmonary hypertension. So these are all the indications for the general anesthesia. Now coming to the third stage of labor in heart disease. Okay, patients, third stage of labor, contraindications of methyl ergometrine. So methyl ergometrine is a contraindication in the case of third stage of labor. Why? Because after delivering of the first twin, it's a contraindication. For example, one twin has come out, we need to bring the other twin. For that we can give oxytocin, but don't use methyl ergometrine. And in the case of organic heart diseases, we should not use methyl ergometrine because it may aggravate the heart disease. And in preeclampsia or any hypertensive mothers, and in eclampsia, and also in Rh negative pregnancy, we should give oxytocin but never give methyl ergometrine. Okay, so methyl ergometrine should not be used in third stage of labor. Use only oxytocin. Especially contraindications are after delivery of first twin, organic heart disease, preeclampsia or hypertensive mother, eclampsia, Rh negative pregnancy. So what are the preferred drugs? So what drugs we should give? Already we said oxytocin, and along with that give diuretics. You know the powerful diuretics is furosemide. Give it for 40 mg IV. Next, coming to antibiotic prophylaxis. What are the antibiotics which we need to give? PROM, that is premature rupture of membranes. Pelvic infections, in this case we need to give antibiotics. Okay, and cyanotic heart disease, valve replacement, in all these conditions give antibiotic prophylaxis. All heart diseases patients undergoing vaginal delivery are not given with antibiotics. Only the patients who are having this kind of diseases like pelvic infection, cyanotic heart disease, valve replacement, premature rupture of membrane, only in that we'll give antibiotics. Now coming to the conditions which trigger congestive heart failure in heart disease patients. So what conditions can trigger heart failure? Like anemia can trigger heart failure. Okay, beta agonist, tachycardia, infections, pain, Iroquois derivatives, all this will trigger the heart failure. So what is the treatment of congestive heart failure in heart disease patients? First, diet, salt and fluid restriction, diuretics, not it contraindicated in pregnancy but contraindicated as antihypertensive in pregnancy. Okay, so diuretics is used in pregnancy, but diuretics should not be used as antihypertensives. Okay, especially in pregnancy. Next, coming to vasodilators and digoxins. So these all should be given as a treatment for chronic heart failure in already pregnant heart disease patients. Okay, digoxin, vasodilators, diuretics, diet like salt and fluid restriction. Now coming to anticoagulants in pregnancy. So anticoagulants in pregnancy. A patient goes into labor, for example, on warfarin, then we need to do cesarean section, already I said. But warfarin is safe even during breastfeeding. Restart the anticoagulant. So after vaginal delivery for 6 hours, we can use. After cesarean section, 6 to 12 hours, we can use the warfarin. So after vaginal delivery, we can use warfarin for 6 hours. After cesarean, use between 6 to 12 hours. Okay, again you can restart the warfarin therapy, but during labor stop using warfarin therapy. Again during breastfeeding you can use the warfarin therapy. Okay, so these are the anticoagulants which we need to take care in pregnancy. So warfarin advantages, it is strong anticoagulant and pregnancy is hypercoagulable stage. Okay, we know that. And disadvantage of warfarin is it crosses the placenta and cause fetal malformation, that is warfarin embryopathy. So similar to chondrodysplasia punctata, so there will be stippled epiphysis. Next, come to heparin. Heparin advantages doesn't cross the placenta, but the disadvantage is a weak anticoagulant. Okay, so what is the duration of pregnancy? Between 1 to 12 weeks we should use anticoagulant, that is heparin. So let me write down, between 1 to 12 weeks use heparin as anticoagulant. Greater than 12 weeks to 36 weeks use warfarin. And again from 36 week till labor, that will only onset of labor use heparin, but during labor don't use any anticoagulant. Again after after labor, after the baby is delivered, you can start using warfarin because it's a powerful anticoagulant and is not contraindicated in breastfeeding. So what are the clinical scenarios? Let us see. A patient with severe mitral stenosis. So let us see the different cases now. So first case is the patient is having severe mitral stenosis. Mitral stenosis is the most common heart disease in pregnant female. So it's contraindicated for pregnancy. Okay, if conceived, actually it's a contraindication for pregnancy, but if this patient already conceived, then MTP should be done. So if conceived and comes after 12 weeks, do balloon. So for example, if this patient has already mitral stenosis, so we recommend this patient to undergo the MTP, that is medical termination of pregnancy. But if the patient don't want to go, we can't force. So that first we need to say that this patient should reduce this mitral stenosis by balloon valvuloplasty. We should not do any valve replacement in pregnancy, that is very important. Only do balloon valvuloplasty, especially in the second trimester, that is between 14 to 18 weeks. First the patient should undergo balloon valvuloplasty, then she can continue her pregnancy. So then no need of medical termination of pregnancy. Okay, so regurgitant lesions are better tolerated in pregnancy than stenotic lesion, that you need to remember. Regurgitant lesions are actually better. In that regurgitant lesions patient, we can no need to suggest this MTP, but especially in stenosis patient we suggest the MTP because regurgitant lesions are better tolerated in pregnancy than stenotic lesions. Next, coming to another patient. Here the patient comes with a heart disease after delivery, wants contraceptive advice. Then the temporary best usage is IUCD and second best is barrier method. Next, coming to permanent vasectomy is preferred. If refused, then do tubectomy. For tubectomy, the best time is after 6 weeks of delivery. Okay, and the second best is after 1 week of delivery, and the method is mini laparotomy. Contraindication is laparoscopy. Don't do laparoscopy, do only mini laparotomy. Okay, so now let's come to another patient. Third patient, the patient is patient with mitral stenosis on warfarin. Okay, so there's a patient with mitral stenosis and already taking warfarin and goes into labor advanced stage, already in the advanced stage labor. So now we can't do cesarean section. So now what we need to do, immediately we need to stop the warfarin and give extra vitamin K to the mother. Give vitamin K to the mother, that's it. So if the patient is with mitral stenosis, another patient, but is on heparin, not on warfarin. Heparin will not cause a placenta, so no need goes into labor. But when this person goes into labor, it's better to stop heparin, that's it. But no need to give any vitamin K. But in the case of warfarin treatment, we need to give vitamin K. Now coming to fifth